online coaching has become, well, a very big thing in the recent years. And I was talking to StrongJon, Jon Vlahogiannakos from Canada, about his journey from being a purely gym-based personal trainer into the online coaching business and why he did it. And of course, how to build meaningful relationships with your potential clients in the digital world that we are surrounded by. So, well, listen what he has to say and grab some valuable insights for yourself about your transition. Nice to talk to you, Jon.
Thanks for having me, man.
It's lovely. I like to talk to like-minded fitness professionals that's been in the industry for quite a long time, because usually I'm working with more with the startups. So, and you are not a startup anymore.
I guess not. Yeah, I don't know what would define startup necessarily, but this is not new for me as much anymore. This is my life now.
How long have you been in the industry?
I think about 7 years, which isn't very long compared to most people. But I mean, years are important, but I think the experience and the work you put in is arguably a little bit more important. It's not like I just popped up, overnight through Instagram or anything like that.
Yeah, I've been in the industry for 22 years, but what I think makes the most difference is, what do you do with those years? So you can be in the industry for such a long time, but doing relatively little, not big things, not working with a lot of clients. And after this, I mean, you can be still a startup after 10 years. And this is something that we quite regularly see in our industry. So it depends what you have been doing the 7 years.
True. And arguably, I think maybe for the first two, maybe I didn't really know much of what I was doing. I was just kind of doing, right? Kind of learning the ropes. Over the last 3 years, it'd be more of really made a difference in my life, my business, how things are going. So it's like compound interest, man. It's you put in the work over time, you learn, you adapt, you grow, and you just keep working to grow. That's what I've done anyway.
But how did you start it? Was it offline, typical one-on-one coaching, or was it, online from the beginning?
Yeah. So a brief backstory into me, like I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my early 20s. I didn't go to college right after high school like most people. I wanted to play hockey and just kind of see where that would take me. And then my mom was like, okay, like hockey's done now, like you got to go to school. So I tried to find a path there. Honestly, after hockey, it was more just like fitness was really interesting to me because of all the work I had. I worked with a few different personal trainers. I had professional lacrosse players training me. That really got me interested in more sports specific, but also I was like having to lose weight. Like I was heavy as a hockey player. And then, in my early 20s, I kind of did a lot of my own kind of just reading, and YouTube fitness was huge back in the day, which kind of got me interested in it all. And I navigated a journey for myself. I helped my brother lose 40 pounds, my best friend lose 40, 50 pounds. So like we became known at our workplace of like the fitness crew, because like everyone just asked us questions. And I was like, you know what, like I could really do something with this. Like people keep asking me questions anyway. Why don't I just go into personal training? Like I love training. I love talking about food. I love eating food. So I was a personal trainer first. Just I wanted to get some experience on the gym floor, but I knew at that time that I didn't want to work for a big box gym forever. I knew that the pay wasn't great. I knew that the hours weren't great. And then when we found out we were pregnant with our firstborn, and then we had him, and then I was working all kinds of hours, I was missing so much time with him. And I was like, this is not what I want for myself, for my family dynamic, for the relationship. Me gone early mornings, I'm gone in the evenings, I barely get to see them. That's when the kind of jump to like, I want to be an online coach first kicked in for me. And that's when I started the Online Trainer Academy back in, I think it was 2016, 2017. And I was doing that. It was a combination of it was in-person training for a while. Once I left that gym, I was still doing kind of a hybrid, almost like I take on some online clients, but then I'd see some in-person clients either at their condo gyms, at their homes, really up until about 2019, where I was working out of one gym. I had online clients only, and then I had in-person clients hybrid. And then COVID hit.
Oh yeah.
And it was honestly the push that I needed to go all the way online. So COVID hit, gyms closed. Most of my in-person clients went all the way online. Some of them didn't want to, and it's just understandable. And then we moved to a different city, and then I never took another in-person client from then. That was February 2020. So 2 years ago, 2 years and 2 months ago, I've been solely online.
Would you consider to take on an offline client, occasionally, just for the feel?
I've thought about it. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's more so I have a lot on my plate right now between two kids, running a successful online business, plus I'm mentoring other online coaches. So time is not something I have in bunches right now. So for in-person, I have had a few people reach out to me locally here, and what I'll offer them is honestly just once a month. I'll go and do their monthly kind of session assessments and talk and have a workout. But for me to go back to like seeing someone weekly, I don't see it happening maybe for the next at least 2 to 3 years.
Do you have your own gym?
I have, my gym is in my basement in my home.
Okay.
And like, again, I don't want to have to worry about appointments in the middle of the day at my house. I mean, my wife and I have talked about, and this is something I've toyed with, is creating my own kind of headquarters where my office is there, my gym is there. And if I wanted to take, private one-on-one clients, it's all happening there. So I don't have to worry about the house and all that stuff. That's a few years down the road. It's kind of in the back of my mind as a plan. But as of right now, yeah, there's no really plans for in-person training.
Yeah, but at the same time, the question always comes up, do you really need a headquarters like that? Is it, because look, I own 2 gyms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building right now my 3rd one, but I don't want to run it. So I'm looking for personnel that will do that for me. Yeah. But I have a big gym just for personal training. And in my country, we were, like the first personal coaching only gym in the country like that, because other ones were way smaller than ours. So right now mine is around 9,500 square feet, something like that. So not the smallest one around. We have around 150 clients in just for personal training. Yeah, that's offline business, and then small group training and so on. We do not offer like the open gym model, like the commercial facilities. I don't want to do that. But we are stepping into the hybrid models right now because I want to get away from my coachings and so on. I still love to do it. I still love the touch and the offline communication and the feeling when you take someone through a real workout. Yeah. Because these are still my roots. And when I started 22 years ago, I was in the martial arts and I started to train others for Aikido back then. And next to Aikido, which was my primary, I started to do karate, taekwondo, and kickboxing, boxing, because I wanted to know more about it. And then it somehow developed into fitness and doing fitness trainings, more nutrition and so on and so on. And I started online coaching when it wasn't really a thing. It was in 2011. So I've had my first online coaching clients in 2011. So, wow, it's 11 years ago. So time flies really fast. But, we didn't have apps like Trainerize, True Coach, My PT Hub, or whatever. We did it with the Excel spreadsheets. So it was way different. Yeah. But I still enjoy it. I love it. And I love to build things. I really enjoy building new businesses. And this was my time when I got into business coaching in 2016. And so the question that I'm asking, because I'm really interested in how we as coaches are thinking and approaching things differently, because it matters. It's 100%. Different business models all across the world. Absolutely. That I've seen.
For me,
like donuts.
I do love donuts. For me, in the headquarters thing, it's more just like, it gives me a separation of work and home, because right now, like, I'm in the basement of my house. So if I hear anything that's going on upstairs, my brain and my energy kind of gets, filtered through both, where if I leave the house, I'm going to my personal gym and my personal office, I'm completely separated from home. So that way I can get my work done, get my workout done. When it's time for me to come home, I leave the work at work. That's a big thing with online coaching. And I'm not sure if you experience this too, is it's very easy to get wrapped up in what you're doing 24/7. If you have your phone next to you all day, if you have clients messaging you, or you're thinking of stuff to do, whether you have social media content to write or programs to make or what have you. That's more of a separation thing. I think it's just nice to kind of have my own space of my own like bigger gym than just my basement, adding a couple machines. And that's where like I don't ever want to open up to the public. That's never going to be a thing. But I know a few trainers out here. I could offer them spots if they wanted to train their thing. That's, again, this is like a 3 to 5 year down the road, but I'm noticing differences of like what it's like working from home constantly versus what I've seen people when they have their own kind of like 2,000 square foot, like a small little area where they have their office, their gym. That's I'm going to work now. And then I can come home and just kind of be dad instead of being half work, half dad all the time.
I know exactly what you mean. It's fine. It's nice for me to have the gym and the offices there. So, if I know that I have to knock out several hours of work, just really focusing on it, I go there, and definitely I'm not working from home. So it's a nice touch. For me, it's a problem because I travel a lot. So I have altogether, it's 6 companies. So I have 3 companies in Slovenia. I have 1 company in Austria. This is with a partner of mine that we run a gym in Austria, and I have 2 companies in the US. So in order to take care of business for all the 6 of them, it's becoming a struggle. And the problem is the time difference. We're 6 hours ahead. We're 6 hours ahead because I have my US companies are in Tampa. So, when my work at home, when I'm there in Slovenia, stops, I'm starting my work for the US companies.
Yeah.
So it's most of the time it's like 6 a.m. start and 10 p.m. finish. So I'm missing a lot of time with my family. And this is the reason for me that I want to go completely into online business right now. It's more flexible.
Yep.
And even by traveling and everything, it's just easier for me to handle it. Luckily, I have my team at home and everything that take care of business when I'm away. I have 3 employees that are mine, that are really, it's the best team in the world. So they got my back. And we have outsourced trainers. So, like freelancers coming in the gym and working there. So everything is running smoothly. But still, it's a lot of work to build something new on a market where you're not at home. So how would you approach this?
I don't know. As you were explaining that, I'm wondering how you're balancing it all. Like, I'm trying to think about running my own business with 60 plus clients and how that can fill my day. And then you're explaining you're running 6 businesses in different continents. And I'm like, mentally, I'm trying to picture what a day in the life would look like. And it sounds super challenging unless like every day is different. I'm not sure how you approach that. Like, cause I can't even visually picture it on how I would do things.
Honestly, I just dive into it. You take one thing at a time, solve it, then you go on to the next one, and that's it. I don't see a need for complicating things or overcomplicating them because it's not necessary. It's most of the things that I'm doing in Slovenia, I'm doing over here in the US. So it's complementary. So it's not a huge deal for me. So you can combine the most time that gets away is translating things. So when I'm building a new program on one market, I have to translate it and then adapt it to the market situation, because Slovenia and the US, it's completely different. I mean, the mindset and everything. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. Slovenia is such a small market. It's a 2 million country. Wow. But the diversity in a 2 million country that you get in Slovenia, that's what keeps me going there, because from town to town, everything is different. And imagine, it's such a small country that you need around 2.5 hours to go from one end to another.
Wow.
So it's nothing, okay? But we have like the flatlands, we have the mountains, so you can ski, you can go to the Adriatic Sea and swim there. You have pretty much everything in such a small space. But it creates a different mindset of the people that you're working with. So working for me with clients from the capital, it's way different than from my hometown, because the mindset is different. When I'm flying over to the US, the mindset here and the openness of the people that I meet here, it's completely different. So the most problems that I'm facing is, for me, just shifting from one mindset to another and get hold of it.
Definitely.
So, but
yeah, because you're approaching different people, so you got to kind of show up a little bit differently. Yeah. So you're saying like people in the US they're more open to like sharing what's going on with them, whereas in Slovenia they're a little bit more closed off in a sense.
Yes, in that sense. When I'm going here for a drink in the evening, I meet here a ton of new people that are potential clients, and it's so easy. Back home, you cannot do that. If I go, at the bar and try to approach someone, I just get a weird look. What you want? So you don't have this. And it took me all those 22 years to build my network and everything. And networking here in the US, where right now, it's so easy. And this is the thing that I like about it.
Yeah. And I think you're right about a lot of coaches overcomplicate things. Like I think what happens is they get wrapped up in what everyone else is doing. So then they never really know what they are doing versus, for yourself to run 6 businesses, like you got to have some sort of tunnel vision, right? Because you have what you need to do and you don't have the time or the energy to focus on what 10 other coaches are doing because you have your own kind of mission and what you want to accomplish. That's kind of how I think people have to approach it. It's easy to get wrapped up in what everyone else is doing, but if you're focusing your energy elsewhere, where's the energy for yourself, for your own business growth and that sort of thing? How are you gonna move forward if you're never focusing on what you need to do?
When I'm doing my business coachings with personal training startups, the most devastating thing for them is Instagram and Facebook. Because what they don't get, I have my phone here, but usually what they do is sit in the gym and scroll through Instagram and Facebook for several hours without producing anything themselves. And I didn't know what other trainers are posting right now. I mean, I'm following you, I'm following Jonathan, I'm following a couple of other ones, the big names, and my friends, of course, in the industry, just to see, okay, what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm not spending huge amounts of time scrolling through the hashtag fitness, which quite honestly, when I'm doing that, have you seen this? Have you noticed that if you put in the hashtag fitness, I'm not sure if I'm looking at, like nightclub advertisement or fitness.
Yeah.
One of my clients here in the US said to me a month ago when I was here last, she said, when I was young, she's above 60. When I was young, having a big booty wasn't something that you would be looking forward to. So it changed it. It changed everything. But this is my problem right now. So spending most of the trainers spending too much time on social media, not producing, just looking at content of others.
Yeah. You become a consumer instead of a creator.
Exactly.
And I think the biggest thing too is like, you don't have to create content 24/7, but you definitely should be creating more than you're consuming, right? It's one thing to kind of have your pulse on what some other people are doing if you need inspiration or if you look up to some other people and just want to keep tabs, but it's another thing to just mindlessly scroll. Like you're caught in what they want you to be caught in on social media is just taking in everything. And when you're taking in stuff, you're never really going to be creating anything of your own either.
It's just, what does it do for you?
Nothing. It's simple. Just move your thumb up all the time. That's it.
So I'm more like reading a book, taking time away, putting my phone on do not disturb. So I got my time for learning because I'm still investing a lot of money into education for myself. I spend between 10 and 20 grand per year on my, additional courses and so on and so on. I just want that. And it makes ideas for you for creating content as well. And what in my opinion, yes, true, what you've said, you don't have to create content 24/7. But when you're creating it, it better be very good. It should bring some value to the table. And this is the next thing. When I'm scrolling occasionally through social media, and I'm checking, okay, what are my clients, my business coaching clients doing? And I'm asking myself, okay, who are you trying to impress?
Mm-hmm.
Is it our personal trainers, or is it your potential clients? Because this is something that it gets, like, where are you at right now? What you doing? So what's the idea behind that post?
Yeah.
Are you writing for other personal trainers because they're not your clients, they will not pay you for any services, or are you writing for your clients? And so the wording needs to change accordingly.
Absolutely. This is one of the biggest problems I think coaches face. And it's not always entirely their fault, because, if you do any training certification, they don't really talk about marketing or anything like that, or else, not that I've ever taken. So they take the knowledge and they just kind of put out the knowledge, not knowing that, like, hey, like, other coaches don't really care what you have to say. And that's one thing I learned. It's been at least 4 years since I've changed kind of how I speak. The biggest lesson I learned when it came to content is to write how I talk. Mm-hmm. I don't try to use big fancy words. I don't try to, talk over people. I try to meet my clients and alike where they're at. And it's funny because I was actually told that twice yesterday in 2 different conversations, that I have a way of simplifying complex things, because it makes it easy to understand. And I think for any coaches that listen to this, that's the biggest thing. Other coaches don't care what you're doing, and you shouldn't care what other coaches think about what you're doing, because you're not making content for other coaches. You're making content to attract a certain type of person, to market your services, whatever it is. You got to provide value in a way that people can read it and understand what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't talk about the Krebs cycle, because not one person cares about the Krebs cycle.
I mean, if you even, it doesn't have to be Krebs cycle, but glue dolls. And what? Come on, just talk about what people are saying. It's a butt.
Yeah,
it's the booty. So this is. Oh, and mentioning this, our certification, because I didn't mention that. So the company in the US, mm-hmm. It's certification.
Okay.
So nice. And we in the UK, we teach, because, and that's my thing in the certification business. I want, the startups, so the newly certified personal trainers, to know what to do from the very beginning. Perfect. Because I know that when we did the certification, no one taught us how to do that. And the business aspect, the marketing aspect, so where to post, how to post, and so on. So this is exactly what I'm incorporating in our certification programs right now. And I'm changing the whole thing, because I think it wasn't good enough. The first problem that I've got way ago was, it's a lot of theory, and no one told us how to apply it with our clients in real life. So we changed the focus from only theory to theory and then practical applications. So the focus is on how you take the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge that you got from a certification, and apply it in real life, because this was the missing part. Yeah. And then the second thing, how you get your first, your second, third, fourth, fifth client to work with, because you have to build your experience. Without experience, you're pretty much nothing.
Yeah, you're just a bank full of knowledge. And it's true. Like, and then what happened, I think, and you probably could attest to this a bit more than me, is throughout the change of introduction of social media and how people are running businesses now, you kind of get like the old school kind of trainers who are just like knowledge. And then you get more of the new school, which is a lot more marketing focused, and they kind of butt heads, because one looks down on the other and the other doesn't see the value in the other. And it becomes this like dichotomy of like, well, you can either be like evidence-based, or you can be a good marketer, and you can't be both, which I think is ridiculous.
It is.
But I mean, the fact that you're bringing a new approach to a certification is huge, because if I pull out my textbook right now, I don't even think there's one chapter on how to get your first client, which what's good is all that knowledge if I don't know how to get someone to work with me, right? People don't care, I think, about your certs necessarily, or how smart you perceive to be. I think when people buy online coaching, especially, they want to know that you can help them. You know what they're going through. And the fact that you're doing that with your course, I think is massive, man. That's great.
It's something that what I've noticed back home as well, because I took as an affiliate first in 2016, and then I stepped into the company 2020 in the US. So what we've noticed is, in 20 years of my personal training career, not a single client asked me about what certification do I have, because they usually work with us because they like us.
Yep.
So if you're a likable person, it's more easily to get clients, which is completely understandable. But no one asked me ever about any certification. I have a ton of them. I stopped counting them. So I was telling myself, okay, something needs to change. And it was pure luck that 2016 November in Athens, I met Jim, my business partner.
Wow.
And he told me, hey, why don't we do something together? I said, okay, if you give me, like open hands to a degree that I can do it my way, what I see is going on in the market, I'm all for it. And I said, yep, go for it.
Nice.
We have to stick to the standards, so to fill it, but everything that you do beyond that, perfect, go for it. And we started, our course in Europe, it's a bit different because the European standards want from us that we do a certain amount of practical, so I have to have the people in the gym, I have to teach them certain things according to the standards. What I'm trying to do is going always beyond that and exceeding it. So I'm telling that my course in Europe, for example, is one of the most practical courses because I want personal trainers to train. So if you're not aware of what training should look like, how can you tell others how to train?
Sure.
And this is where I'm somehow I'm thinking, okay, should a personal training certification be strictly online? Is it good enough to offer just an exam for something like that? I don't think so.
Not for in-person training. You need to have your hands on. That's the thing.
Yeah, but even for online coaching, look at yourself. If you wouldn't have any offline experience, would you be able to address certain aspects of training modalities in your online business?
Yeah. No way. No.
If you never seen, at least 10 different people squat and how to correct it, how can you do it online where there's no hands-on experience and so on?
Yeah.
So I want them to go through a certain process to start offline, hands-on, and then move all over to online because it's appealing.
Well, and just that it builds your knowledge base. Like that's probably one of the biggest issues that's happened over the last 2 years is if you look good, you can become an online coach.
Yeah.
If you sell supplements, you can become a health coach. Like there's a lot of really big red flags happening, and it's tougher, I think, than ever being a consumer. But then at the same time, I think that's why like businesses like my own, yours, and a few other coaches I can think of, we thrive over the last 2 years because people see us as real. Like I've been here before 2020. My business will be around way past 2020. And it's for a reason. Yeah, I put in the work. I have the experience. I'm here to help people. I don't just, offer coaching because look at what I did.
Yeah.
And I'm in shape and I did a competition. That's not what it's about. It's so much deeper than that. So I'm glad you're molding new coaches and startups from the beginning because I think that's what they need. It's not just read a textbook, do a test anymore. No. You got to get your hands dirty.
And then encouraging them to go to different seminars, hear different people speak.
Yeah.
And my goal was always for such a small market that I've had back then, but a 2 million market, and I'm bringing over the big names like my friend Dr. Brad Schoenfeld. It was, bringing Brad over to Slovenia was, should I really do that? It was expensive. I'm not hiding it. And I always like to connect with, and Brad is similar to myself. He started out as a coach first and then got his science degrees. Wow. So, and the reason why I like him so much is because he's bringing the science to the practical aspect of things.
Yeah.
He's going both ways, and his teachings are just amazing in my opinion. So he's coming over to Slovenia this July again.
That's awesome.
And I love it. And then, he likes wine. I like wine. I'm a sommelier. People don't know that, but I love it. And that's the thing. I've mentioned you like donuts, and it's not an absolute thing. when we talk about fitness and health, what people perceive as an absolute, so you have to eat clean or you don't have results.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that, doesn't it?
No, and that's why my logo was half a donut, half of a weight plate. Like, it was a rebranding that I guess was super necessary. And I lean into it because now every time someone thinks of donuts, they think of me. They'll tag me online. So like that branding marketing works. And it's true. Like, I couldn't tell you one person off the top of my head that's ever had like a perfect quote unquote clean journey or, ate that way all the time. And I think that just stems from bodybuilding culture, because that's I don't know about Slovenia, but that's what really drove things home here in North America. Is everyone look up to bodybuilders, and this is how they train, and this is how they ate, and if you didn't eat like that, then you couldn't get results. But now in 2022, like, we're here so many years later, and still some people are still stuck in that, like, I can't have those things because they're bad or whatever it might be, which is something I try to talk about like daily.
But the reason behind this, in my opinion, is so many coaches are still aspiring to be in the bodybuilding world somehow, like physique athletes or even classic bodybuilding. I've done it myself. I've been a triathlete, so I've won a couple of triathlons back in the day. I've done my world record for the Guinness Book in 2012. So I was sitting on a spinning bike for 11 days straight without sleep and so on. So I've done my fair share of stupid things in my life. And in 2015, I competed in classic bodybuilding. But the difference between myself and other bodybuilders on the stage was I was working with my coach, which happens to be one of my best friends in the industry, a huge mentor for myself, Phil Learning from the Advanced Coaching Academy in the UK. And Phil was working with me with a different approach. He told me, look, you're a businessman and a father first. Bodybuilding is just something that you enjoy and want to step into to have the experience. So let's handle it like that.
Nice.
I mean, my prep was phenomenal. I started dieting. Look, this is the funny thing. I started dieting and I've lost my first 5 kilograms, which is around 11 pounds.
Yeah.
On 5,500 calories per day.
Holy smokes.
Okay. My lowest calorie intake in the last 2 weeks of my contest prep was not below 2,700.
Amazing.
But that was a different approach. And I know all of the flaws and everything that are still, going around in the industry, like you have to eat only fish, broccoli, and rice and blah, 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 because fish will make your skin look thinner. And so how is that supposed to work? So it means that if I enjoy a steak, my skin will not look thin and so on. Come on, show me the science behind that.
It's
so
ridiculous.
But this is still going around. And when people approach me, because I've prepped a couple of other guys competing back in the days too, and all of them had the same mindset. Oh, it has to be like that. Why? Explain to me why.
Because it's been done the same way for 20 years.
Exactly.
Right?
It's tradition. It's tradition, but you cannot rely on tradition with such things. You have a different life. So it has to be individualized, same as our normal personal training as well. That's the key.
It's the biggest thing. And that's why, like, I always tell people, like, I'll never work with physique athletes, bodybuilders. That's not my style. Everyone that comes to me, like, it's mostly women over 35. They've dieted off and on for a decade. The last thing they need is another extreme method of doing it. And I think that's where tradition comes into play, or what they've tried in the past or what they've read. It all stems from one area of, like, this is what's been trickled down over the years to people's information, whether carbs are bad or fat is bad or fruit is bad, like just ridiculous things that come across. And unless you're doing an extreme sport, because bodybuilding to me is an extreme sport, you have to get down to really low levels of body fat. It's not healthy. You don't maintain it long term. Unless you're doing something like that, you don't need the approach to be like that. Like, that's the simplest way I can put it. Like, if you're a mom first. You're not a bodybuilder first or a physique competitor first, and you shouldn't be following what they've done, because you said it, that's not your life. That's not who you are.
But that's the thing. What we are competing against are all those 20 to 25-year-olds, showing just random exercises on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
It looks appealing, we have to admit, but this is what we're up against. It's not easy. It's not easy to explain to a mom, hey, look, there's no need for it.
No,
You don't need that. But
it's tough.
It is.
I mean, I think it's a battle that'll never end. Like the battle always changes, right? Whether it's talking to people about different supplements that are a waste of time, or swipe workouts or something like that. It's the only thing we can do is do our thing and educate as many people as we can as to like why certain things aren't for them. And I think lately, I think more and more people are kind of coming in terms of like authentic people online that aren't just there to show off their bodies or their workouts. And I've analyzed quite a few coaches' social medias before, and I told them, I'm like, look, this is not a coaching page. This looks like you're an athlete. Now, if you want to showcase all your workouts, that's fine, but do not expect people to come to you and say, hey, I need coaching. Because all you're showing is your workouts and your food. At the end of the day, people want to know that you're a person. People want a coach that's going to listen to them, that's going to help them. Maybe they've been in your shoes before. And this isn't to knock like every 20 to 25-year-old, but at the same time, like you haven't put in the work yet to be able to, I think, call yourself really an experienced coach. Unless you've done it since you're 18 and you have years under your belt of actually working with people hands-on, like the instant gratification thing on social media makes things tougher for us. But I feel like all we can really do is keep putting out like good content, connecting with people, and just trying to spread our message to kind of silence out all the other nonsense that's out there in a way.
Yep. True. But I think that one of the things that we can teach other personal trainers that are, in their beginnings is who to follow and who to listen to. So what would be the top 5 personalities in the fitness industry that you would suggest to follow?
Wow, that's a tough question.
It is, huh?
So many online friends. Well, I mean, there's some obvious leaders in the industry that I think only provide positivity for people, and that doesn't mean like they're positive all the time, but to help people see a better light. So Jordan Syatt's obviously first one that comes to mind. Syatt Fitness, one of the best online coaches, I'd say, on social media for sure. Sohee Lee's another one. Sohee really dives into a lot of different things that people don't talk about, whether it's talking about like when people say they have food addictions, when they have other things going on. She'll help people with exercise selection. The information she's putting out is always good. It's always backed by evidence. It's not just BS that she's spewing. 5 people. Well, I mean, I'm biased to some people. Like,
that's okay.
Cody McBroom is a guy that I really looked up to over the past few years. He's someone he's a no BS kind of guy, but he's always like he's providing above and beyond value in terms of like his social media content, constantly writing blogs, emails. If you're subscribed to his email list, you're getting like 4 emails a week. Plus he's got YouTube. Plus he's doing a couple episodes of podcasting a week. And I've asked him, I don't know how he does it. He's a father. He runs a business. He has a team of coaches. So that's another one where he's really stepping up to become a leader in the industry for sure. Of someone who just like wants to see people do great things and get them in great shape. That's 3 people. Other than me and you, people like Marcy Nevin, I really like. I like Marcy. She's to the point. She helps people again with, it's more a lot of the mindset work. Like, I think that's the other thing with social media is like, what people need isn't necessarily another way to train their arms or another way to train their legs. It's helping them wrap their minds around, okay, what do you expect? What do you need to do to be able to, let's say, lose 10 pounds, but keep it off? Marcy talks about walking, mindset, journaling. She digs into, what's going on behind the scenes versus, take a look at my yogurt bowl I had for breakfast kind of thing. And that's the thing with anyone on social media, like if they're always talking about what they're doing, I don't know that they're going to be the one to help you.
Yeah.
It's rare. Like I haven't talked about what I'm doing much at all lately because I feel like people don't need to hear it all the time. I'm not here to showcase, I'm not a quote unquote influencer. I'm a coach. So I want to provide value for people. And I think anyone, if you're following someone on social media and you're not getting any value from them, unfollow them. Unfollow. I think that's the way it should be. If they're making you feel bad, unfollow. if they're constantly just it's selfie all the time, unfollow. Like you don't need that stuff. We only have so much energy in a day. I'm sure you experience this every day. You're busy. You don't have time to scroll through BS. You want things that are gonna, spark a fire under you, give you inspiration, help you move on in your day, and that's it. So I think when it comes to following coaches online, I think I only named 4 of them, but that's, you want to look for people who are out there to help you. And any coach that I love talking to, that you're talking to, like, we're here to help people. At the end of the day, we're not here to sell you anything. We're here to help you get in shape, maintain it, sustain it, improve your lifestyle, that sort of thing.
True. See, my top 5 for coaches in this particular matter would be, I love what Dr. Spencer Nadolski is doing.
Oh yeah.
I love his memes.
They're funny.
Come on again, but still, it's putting out valuable information for the general public as well.
Yeah.
Going away from the myths and everything. So it's something I like. Then for coaches, what Jonathan is doing is very good in my opinion. Jonathan Goodman.
Yeah.
Then Phil Graham is one of my very good friends. He's putting out really good content for coaches, business-wise, especially.
Yeah, especially business.
So definitely someone to follow. Then Luke Lehman from Muscle Nerds. I don't know if you know him. Luke was working for the Poliquin Group until 2015-16, and then he started his Muscle Nerds project. It started when he was visiting me in Slovenia, 2016, to be fair. So Luke puts out amazing content. He is like a walking encyclopedia of nutrition and training. I love that guy. I always tell him that he is my brother from another mother, and I can't wait to see him again. He's right now in Australia and still cannot travel too much, so we'll be waiting a bit for that. So he's one. What that are 3, right?
Yeah.
Well, again, besides you, definitely, because I like the approach. And if people are following you, they see exactly how it needs to be broken down to meet the clients where they're at. It's simple. It's really simple. So I like that. I love it. Phil Lerney is putting out some deep insight to the business side of things.
Okay.
Providing huge value for coaches. So, really thinking about what you're doing and why you are doing it.
Nice.
What else that is really impactful? Well, basically my fellow guy from Slovenia, Luka.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that actually. I remember Luka came to mind too. Yeah.
Luka is putting out some very good content lately.
You guys know each other from back in Slovenia?
Not him. I know his brother, and I'm working with his brother back in Slovenia.
Oh, okay, because his brother's running a gym, right? Or you guys running a gym together?
Yes, basically. Wow. So Luka isn't a part of that gym in Slovenia anymore, but it has the same name. So Bigger Ground is Luka is near Seattle.
He's near Seattle.
Yeah, so Seattle, and the guys are in the capital in Ljubljana in Slovenia. So it used to be 4 of them or even 5 of them. Now it's down to Luka's brother Matej, which is an amazing strength and conditioning coach too, and he's a very good guy. And Giga, which is his business partner over there. We all know it's such a small market, obviously.
Yeah.
But yes, so I'm thinking about visiting Luka in Seattle during the year, probably.
I went to his business summit last year in September.
Yeah,
he's a great guy. He's a great speaker. And once you said Slovenia, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Luka's from Slovenia too. I wonder if they know each other.
He is.
What a small world. Yeah, that's wild.
Oh, there's another guy that I would definitely follow. A good friend of mine too, Dr. Brad Dieter, MacroSync.
Oh yeah, okay.
Brad is fantastic. I love him. I hope that he's coming over to Slovenia this year as well. I haven't seen him since 2018. I was attending one of his seminars in Vienna, and we got quite good connected. So he's putting out good content, really good podcast, the MacroSync podcast. So
Okay,
I
I'm gonna check
definitely
that one out.
would recommend this. So there are, you know, a lot of good names in our industry.
Mhm.
Bodybuilding wise, I like the hypertrophy coach.
Yeah.
So he's a good guy. I liked what Ben Pakulski was doing back in the day, but for my taste, he is a bit overcomplicating things right now.
Okay.
But you know, still the Muscle Expert podcast, a good source if you want more insight.
Well, Coach
This is way more
Casson
than 5 right now.
and one nutrition and one education.
Nutrition. Krista Scott Dixon would be my weapon of choice.
Nice.
You know, she's doing a lot of things for. The Precision Nutrition is calling it disordered eating.
Yeah.
And I think that Krista is putting out really good content on this field. So that would be definitely one.
Nice.
In the nutrition field.
Yeah.
Alan Aragon, good and valuable content. The only thing that I don't like about him is, you know, the constantly picking on each other, trying to bring others down somehow. At least I got that feeling.
There's a few coaches online that thrive on that. I don't want to name any names, but you can tell when they're up there putting, it's like they're just trying to battle other people instead of just focusing on like helping people. That's not something I wanted to do. I did that like 4 years ago when I didn't know what I was doing. I like nitpick things. We're just here to help people. I don't want to battle anybody.
Yeah, I don't like that approach. I'm not afraid to mention any names. I mean, I like the, you know, I'm talking about. I like his content and everything when he's not trying to bring anybody down. But
yeah,
I don't think that we can stop the bullshitting on social media.
No,
it's impossible to get away. There'll always be something. So I don't think that this is doing any good for the market right now. Instead, putting out really good content and value that people will like, and market it better. I think that's a way better choice.
Agreed. Well, because then what happens is people, like, you see two coaches arguing online, and then you have to pick a camp, and then it just creates more dichotomy with stuff when it doesn't have to ever be that way. It really, you don't have to pick a camp, I think. And that's where I think people get stuck too. Like, are you a powerlifter? Are you a bodybuilder? Are you nothing? Or, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just a dad who wants to work out and get in good shape. Like that's literally it. I don't care what other people are doing. If you're low carb Sally or high carb Sally, like,
I don't care.
I don't care. It's not important to me. Yeah, I think so too. That's the other thing.
It's marketing wise, it's not the best thing, but you know, the polarizing things and the controversial things are just, you know, dragging everybody to it.
Yeah.
Which is probably the reason why they are doing it. I wouldn't go so far that, you know, that's definitely it, but yeah, I don't think, it is part of it, but I don't think that this is the right way to go for.
I agree. Well, you're just you're trying to be viral. You're trying to catch a headline.
Yeah.
But it's, at the end of the day, is the content helping people? Is it just making them more confused, or is it bringing more negativity to their timeline, to their day? That's the other thing too. Like, social media can be a real like shitstorm if you let it, and it depends on who you're following. If you're following people that are always arguing with other people, is that the kind of energy you want in your day every single day? Probably not, right? Like, the unfollow button is great, the mute button is great if you want to hurt people's feelings or whatever. But I think that's the other thing, is like, you control what you see out there. So surround yourself with positivity as much as you can, and just value, and not people bickering about what diet to be on.
Exactly. Well, I'm looking at a watch right now, and I'm thinking way too much of your time away, which is not good, and you need your family time. And I believe my girls will be back in a second too. So, Jon, I would love to talk to you another time again. Do a second one.
100%.
So I'm looking out for this. Thank you for today. Was productive. I like that. And let's get together soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
I think that we were able to spread a nice little message today for the coaches out there. I love that.
Yeah, we'll definitely dig it deeper in the next part.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
More into online coaching as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, man. See you
Awesome.
soon.